coming out tonight. As war rages in Ukraine, talk of World War III continues. It's on pretty much every front page from week to week. And of course, Russia and NATO move closer to direct confrontation. This terrifying prospect increases the likelihood of nuclear war. And it's now routine to talk about their use, not just with belligerent bluster, but also with calculation about so-called battlefield use. So stopping this war, urging a ceasefire and negotiation has to be top of the agenda. We have to prevent escalation to nuclear war. Yet none of the leaders, so-called leaders, who are involved seem to care about the risks and the consequences of their actions. Indeed, their actions take us closer to nuclear war every day. Britain's own role in exacerbating the nuclear problem is significant and growing. Last year, the government announced an increase in the UK's nuclear arsenal of over 40%, and an increase as well in the scenarios in which nuclear weapons would be used, including against non-nuclear weapon states. And of course, this reverses decades of gradual reductions, and it goes against our international treaty obligations. And of course, increasing the arsenal contributes to a new nuclear arms race. But that's not all. In recent weeks, we've heard that US NATO nuclear weapons are coming back to Britain, or they may indeed already be here, at the RAF base in Lakenheath in East Anglia. This is where 110 B-61 free-fall US nuclear bombs were sighted until 2008, when they were removed following sustained protest by C&D. The news of their return wasn't informed to us by the government or an MOD announcement. It was revealed in a tweet by a nuclear expert, Hans Christensen. He was scrutinising a recent US Department of Defence document justifying its 2023 budget plans to Congress. He was reading the small print carefully, and he discovered that it had added the UK to the list of European sites in line for infrastructure investment for storing, quote, special weapons within secure sites and facilities. And of course, special weapons means nuclear weapons. The Department of Defence in the US claims there is a need to improve NATO infrastructure within alliance territories in the context of increasing tension with Russia and the current escalating war. So the UK wasn't on the list the previous year, it is now. So it looks like a very recent decision, and it's a clear NATO nuclear escalation in the context of this war. Since the weapons were removed in 2008, the empty storage vaults for the weapons have been on so-called caretaker status, but there have been recent reports of nuclear exercises taking place at Lakenheath, and this increases the likelihood that nuclear weapons are either back or they're on the way. And there's plenty of weaponry there already. The base currently hosts F-15 fighter bombers with nuclear capability, but these are now being replaced and upgraded by the new nuclear-capable F-35 Lightning. The first of these new fighter bombers arrived last December, so this whole massive escalation of militarisation is ongoing. And within the next year, US NATO nuclear bases in Europe will also receive the new B-61-12 guided nuclear bomb, which is entering full-scale production in the US. Now we know that I was giving billions and billions and billions in support, military support to Ukraine. But the escalation within the US in the nuclear weapons sector is massively increasing too. So following the news of the return of the weapons, parliamentary C&D MPs immediately put questions to the MOD. The answer was it was unable to comment on US spending decisions and capabilities, which are a matter for the US government. It remains long-standing UK and NATO policy to neither confirm nor deny the presence of nuclear weapons at a given location. I mean, it's as if it doesn't matter, it's not important, it's not relevant to report to Parliament or to the people if another country is sending nuclear weapons here to Britain. I mean, it's just a complete disgrace and against any form of elementary democracy in this country. So CND's position has been clear and strong. We oppose any return of US nukes to Lakenheath, and we thank Stop the War for its immediate support for this campaign. We really appreciate it very much. I know we're going to be working together over the next weeks and months to turn this back. Because these weapons will put Britain on the front line in any US war, and we will work with movements in other countries that host these same B-61 bombs. That's Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, Italy and Turkey. And these bombs are in these countries in spite of strong opposition to them, not just from movements. In a number of countries, the actual governments have told the US, we want to get rid of these nuclear weapons, and they haven't allowed them to be sent back. So there is a strong movement of opposition across Europe. Last Saturday, we organised a national demonstration at the Lakenheath Air Base. Hundreds attended, so this is really the first stage in this crucial campaign, and there will be more actions to come. Today, early day motion 98 was put down in Parliament, and I urge you to contact your MP to sign up to it and let as many people as possible know. Because although we got very good regional media coverage for Saturday, still the national press, not much coverage there. So we need to really turn that around. So putting this into the wider global picture shows us how dangerous this really is. The return of US nuclear weapons to Britain and the upgrading of its nuclear weapons across Europe is a further undermining of prospects for peace in the region. The US is the only country in the world to locate its nuclear weapons outside its own borders, and this major increase in NATO's capacity to wage nuclear war in Europe is dangerously destabilising. Whether the bombs have already been returned to Britain or their delivery is still in preparation, this is a huge challenge for the peace movement. Speaking recently about the risks of the Ukraine war turning nuclear, I said that it was precisely these weapons at bases across Europe that would be likely to be used first in a nuclear war over Ukraine. The US-Russia war will be fought in Europe. And of course, this was our worst fear in the 1980s, when millions mobilised across Europe against cruise and Pershing missiles being sighted here. In the 1980s, we got rid of all those weapons, and we have to have the energy, the commitment, and the confidence to do that again. Thank you.